Welcome home, dearest Brava baby, to Do You Believe in Brava, the interview series where I, Talia Brava, personal growth leader of the next generation, meet with stars from across the spiritual personal world to try their practices, feel their vibe, and most importantly, ask them, do you believe in Brava? In Brava, in Brava, in Brava, in Brava. Our day on the big old relationship book, which I found on the street and now it's guiding my whole life, is declaring a truce. And the characters, the relationship that is elucidated is Nancy Kerrigan and Tonya Harding, the greatest drama of our generation.
That's amazing. How amazing. Drama that will unfold.
Who knows what will unfold? And look at us, we both got like a nice, like, you've got your red velvet, I've got my white velvet. Like, we're both like cats. It's such a cat vibe.
Very divine.
Very divine. Okay, my darling, the crystal messenger, Nicole. I know you from, our connection initially began with the Moonual. You're an astrologer, but you also do tarot. You also do intuitive work.
Yes.
My boo, you're an artist. You make jewelry. You work with crystals.
Yeah.
You are so multifaceted, and that's why I browse, because you're not like, you didn't read a book and like decide how to do healing. Like, you seem to have come into your own. So we're going to like unpack that and just get into it. But if you were to just say a l'chaim to the Brava Baby Cult community, in any form you would wish, what would you say your offering is right now in this moment to the world as yourself?
Well, first of all, hello, Brava babies. I'm glad to be here. It's a long time coming for the short months that we've known each other. I can't keep up with myself, really, like with all the things I do and all the things I like. I'm just a creative, and I like to call myself a conceptual artist. I feel like I'm here to help change the world, really, like to really be blunt about it. I'm help usher in a whole new system of how we teach kids, how we approach relationships, importantly, how we approach business relationships, partnerships of all kind, and like really, show the magic that is my life. And you are right, I did not come from like a book or a mentor. I've never even had and I've always wished to have like a spiritual mentor or a spiritual teacher. And I think now in my later life, because I only met Sarah last year, but like she's helped me a lot, and a lot of the people have helped me now, but I've never grown up with somebody who was like, okay, we're going to teach you how to heal, and we're going to teach you what spirits are. Like, those are things that I just had to like stumble upon. So I feel like my life in itself is like just paying attention to what's going on and what I provide, and seeing the way that I have grown and will continue to, because I'm not nowhere near my peak, but as I continue to grow, I become like this example of how do we live divine, and how do we actually bring that into every area of our life without feeling ashamed and feeling like we're wrong.
Oh, my darling. So when you just said that word ashamed, I think it is, I've been saying this, like 2016 felt like a political coming out party where we could be like, we're not holding back about how radical we are. 2020 feels like a personal coming out party where people are coming out and being like, you know what, I talk to angels, or like, I like believe that my vagina has like secret messages, and I like tap it and I check it and I read it. Like, so basically, like, I feel like it's a massive coming out party. Like, there's no way to fuck and there's no way to do spirituality, and like we're all coming out with that. So in the time that I've known you personally since October, when we met on your actual fucking birthday, you had just done your first ever like comedy event, like being on a comedy stage, and I feel like I've been witness to this portal moment where you've just like used your voice more and more. Is that true, or am I projecting that?
No, that's completely true, because even then, like, this was, so my whole life I knew though intuitively that I had to broadcast or be on stage. Like in high school, I used to be like, oh, I'm gonna be bigger than Oprah, like I'm gonna get my own talk show, like fuck Oprah, right? And then to see all the stuff coming out in the news now, that's another story. But
I alluded, so I would love to get it. Yeah.
But it's like, okay, yeah, so, and what the hell was I saying? Yeah, so I always knew that I was supposed to broadcast and whatnot, but I've never gotten the chance to. And then even in my chart, I have Chiron, the wounded healer, in Leo, right? Leo is all about our expression.
Yes.
And it's in the 9th house, so it's all about like what I learn and how I teach. And I have like the wound there, where as a child I was always kind of like never noticed for my individuality, even though I was such a weird kid. I was the weirdest. But at the end of the day, no one like like I was born when my mom was 40. She had me at 40. So she had all of her other kids years before me. My sister, who was the youngest before me, we had the same birthday, interestingly enough.
Wow.
And she but she's 17 years older than me. So there was always this gap. There was the gap with my older family members, my mom, who was like generations before me. She didn't understand like any of the stuff that I was trying to bring. And then my sister started having kids, so then it was like the gap there too. So there was these two gaps created, and I was just in the middle, very isolated by myself. So I had to, come to terms with, okay, well, how am I gonna like be? And if no one wants to hear me, then what's the point? So it gave me two sides to that with my voice. It was like one part of me, I didn't care about like telling my family and friends about what I thought the truth was.
Yeah, like you're already an other, so you're like, well then, if I'm weird, here.
Exactly. I was like, no, I'm different. I have different thoughts. Fine. I'll bring that to everybody. So that was like normal for me, but I never got the chance to broadcast. So then when Sarah came in and I was like, yeah, let's get on the stage, I was like, oh shit. Like, this is kind of the things that I talked about for years, and now we're finally here, and it took so long. So then, of course, that brings a whole new layer of like freaking out and like, am I really going to be accepted? Can I really get weird with this? Or do I have to like hold back? So definitely from that point till now, yeah, I've used my voice a lot.
I love how humans, like, we go through our whole lives, like, waiting for a thing that then when it happens, 99% of people are like, oh no, that's scary, bye. It's like the things that we really want are usually, a star was born, and I was there for that birthing. Mommy Armour is here. My darling. So when you came into this world, I'm gonna ask you very bluntly, do you feel like you're like a hybrid and you like are a different species of your fam? Like what's going on there? Like you're mismatched in your family. Do you feel like there's something there?
See, it's like great because you're a Scorpio and you're already in my 12th house, so you already know. Like you're literally answering it before me. Because I, number one, believe wholeheartedly I'm a hybrid, but I think like most of us are, right? So I think that there's a interesting conversation to be had about that because most of us aren't all human, right? I've never really believed in the concept of just being straight up human. Now the thing was though, because I never had any of the language, like I never had the spiritual understanding and meaning, I didn't have the words to put it. So I knew I felt different, and if I did have astrology and like all of these teachings when I was younger, I would have been like a high functioning narcissist. I would have been all
totally like don't tell your children that they're a starseed. They're gonna walk around like fucking trying to abracadabra and like not eat their vegetables. Like
for real, my life would have been very different, and I don't know. So I'm glad that it didn't happen that way because now I could kind of see my human side, but I also know that I'm not all the way human. Like I'm definitely from different places. I completely feel like a volunteer soul. I know that, and I known that for years. Like I've always known that. Like I chose to come back, and it really was just to help and just. So that's something weird that purpose-wise I've always had. I'm kind of grateful for it though because I've never felt like, like I've never been through certain stages where I felt so down, like I'm reason to be here. Even though I knew I was alone and I didn't know if it was ever going to come to fruition, I did feel connected to that, like alien all the way.
Out of fucking purpose. Honestly, that's the most blasé times like in my life, and the hardest was when I was a kid, and like to be honest, like I was so raised, like Brava is like the psyche that I was like raised by. So like when you feel the emptiness of that pursuit of like just hyper ego, like get fit, get successful, make money, and like first of all you're not even doing that well, and then secondly you realize like just how unsatisfying a life without a personal or any sort of like higher like desire cause, like something that burns you up it's the most depressing thing. So to be gifted with the struggle but also the gift of like having that purpose from a very young age is such a amazing thing.
It definitely is. It felt great, but then it felt like a burden. But yeah.
yeah 1000%. Because also this is the other thing, like as you spoke about, like it's almost like you as a child, like you needed to mature as a child before you could take on the idea that you might not be fully human, because the fact is aliens are people too. Like we're all fucking human. Like we're all living through a human experience. None of us are above it, not even Mr. Eckhart. And if he so doth claim, like, he's canceled from my cancel. You know, like, I don't trust this personal leader who doesn't admit that, like, they have to eat.
Yeah.
Except for the sun people. We should find out about them. I'm curious.
Exactly.
Knowing that there's just so much information right now, I literally, like, on your live stream last night with Sarah, I wrote in the comment, like, I'm just taking a moratorium on knowing anything because I really feel like I can't figure out what's true right now in terms of facts.
Yeah.
So when you look at this moment that we're in, where it's like you said, there's a story about Oprah just like emerging on some corners of Instagram. Like, there is, and I know because they follow similar people, there is a lot, insane amount of polarization like never before. People seem to all have very, 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 very contrary views on what's actually happening. How do you, as a solo entity being with your streams of information and also your actual connection to truth, how do you feel into this is true? And how do you know what's true for you, moment to moment?
Well, first of all, right, there's two ways of going about that, because there is logical truth, but then there's always seem to not accept, which is that intuitive truth. And a lot of the times they don't when you're seeing like contradicting information party or join that party, you don't really know where you want to go. To understand that all illusion, all matter is an illusion, is a real thing, right? So the world we're living is, and as functioning as it is, and I hope I'm not breaking up. Am I breaking up?
It's like you're freezing, but I can hear you. It's a very odd experience. So Nicole's breaking it up. It's just so Mercury retrograde.
Oh my
you
God.
Guys, if you
okay, of course it's Mercury, but it's fine.
Exactly. I was just telling the people, if they don't believe in astrology, believe it. Because look, Mercury retrograde. Don't nothing being fucking once.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, darling. So I was hearing though that there is like this intuitive knowing that is oftentimes what we don't want to listen to. I love the house tour to find better Wi-Fi. It's always a dear part of every trip. In the meantime, Sarah's saying don't tell our secrets. Bill, she's about to out it. All secrets are coming out. We don't keep secrets in the Brava baby community.
Okay, so truth. Now, one of the most important things about truth that I think people do need to remember is that for us in our personal lives, it is very subjective. So what can be true for one of us may not be true for the person next to us. And when that happens, we have to be able to follow our true alignment and our intuition to know that when we see something and we feel both the connection in our mind, in our heart, and our gut is how we know it's true. And when I say it's true, it might just be true for you. So it's kind of like the truth is really a riddle. For the most part, people don't like the truth because they don't want to come to terms with that within themselves, whatever it is, and they don't want to see it in the world. Now, even the truth of what's happening on the world stage is so in and out, and it has so many different layers that there's truths and lies to all of the things that we think that's even a fact just by itself, right? Even science itself will constantly be worked on, and people will come back to revoke a statement that they thought was real but actually isn't. So when you're looking for the truth, you have to know that you're searching for your personal truth, not the truth of the world. The truth of the world will always change. And the truth of the world will change according to what our personal truth is. So as long as we live aligned with our decisions and actually speak up for ourselves and say, these are the things that I think are right and wrong, then as we continue and as we go on, we'll see that the world will start to shift in order to give us the circumstances to live out our actual truth.
There is this call, like, literally everyone on my Instagram feed is like, stand up, do something, care. And I'm like, I care. I care about your freedom. I care about you keeping your mind woke. I care about you asking questions. There are things that I am willing to fight for, but they are the internal things. Because I don't feel comfortable putting my feet on any platform right now. And it's not that I won't ever feel that way, but right now, I'm taking a moratorium on anything externally, outwardly political because I truly don't know. And like my family would hate me to say that, you know? Like I grew up with super liberals. Like everyone I know is a super liberal and like their values are fucking great. And I believe in their values, but I don't believe in just jumping on bandwagons when I'm not sure. And all I really can be sure of right now is like every being deserves to be loved. Every being is valuable to this planet, and everyone should feel free to like say and do and act in accordance with their heart. Because I do believe that 99% of the world, besides like maybe some, sociopaths, are good. And if we listen to our hearts, we're going to connect better and we're going to create a better world. So for me, it's like, it's interesting because it's like on one end, I'm like, I'm such an activist right now, but I'm an activist for like internal work.
Yeah, being an activist for literally standing up on your own platform, that no one can take away your own platform. Yes. You know what I mean? And no agenda except for your own and what you want to do, and you being whoever you feel like being. So at the end of the day, and that's what we all need to give ourselves, because we don't have that. If we're, especially right now with all of this renowned Mars and Aries energy, we're moving forward, and it is solely about our identity. It's me saying I am the crystal messenger and I'm here to change the world. Yeah. Like that's what it is. And I'm here to change the little facet of the world that I came to change. But like, we're all here for different groups and different people. So we're never going to find those groups. We're never going to find those people. And we're never going to find what we're really here to be an activist for if we're always hopping on the bandwagon of what everyone is all of a sudden an activist for.
And that's when it got to such an extreme that it became almost laughable to me, where it's like, if you are not saying this same exact statement right now, you're off the table. And that's when I jumped off. That's when I was like, cool, I'm swimming. Eliane Gonzalez over here. Like, I'm going to go find my own family in America. Like, peace. Because I'm just not about that. Like, it's suffocating. If I can be the stand for that, and like my job might just be to like say the wrong thing, like I'm glad to be that person, because I want someone else behind me to be like, oh shit, I can like talk about this other feeling I have. We don't have to have the same feelings at all the same moments.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that's, or a few things that's being blown up, but how about the things we've been struggling with before this, which is most of us don't even feel comfortable, and a lot of people don't know who they are. So that's an issue, because if you don't know who you are, then you are gonna like jump on all of the bandwagons to feel a part and to feel like somebody and to feel like you're getting closer to your own personal truth, which really is the ultimate truth. So really finding that for yourself, like, sure, if you feel compelled to be an activist right now, fine, but understand you may then be called to do something else, to do something higher, or to do something very different than you're doing right now. That's okay too, but you have to be willing to kind of go down the journey of finding that. So we can't really beat people up for not knowing who they are or not projecting their truth. It's just, we have to be very not so sensitive. I think truth and PC or sensitivity culture, those things go hand in hand, and those things have been rubbing shoulders. And it's like, because the truth isn't sensitive. Nothing about it. Nothing about my personal truth is going to make the whole world feel good.
1,000%. Yeah.
So then what do you do, right?
Like the Mars and Aries energy that you were speaking about last night. So like that, there is this energy that kind of makes people a little bit more, maybe that's an understatement, but maybe very like fighty oriented. What would you say, like speaking to the collective right now, like in this moment, what would you say like your sort of words of advice, or what would you say as we navigate like this particular upcoming eclipse? I know it's a big question, but is there like a kernel that feels relevant right now?
I think for the most part, everyone should realize that we have manifested what's going on now years ago. So we shouldn't be so caught up in trying to make everything happen, because even that is going to change. Like there are certain, because of these eclipses, because things are so turned up, and because like portals are opening literally everywhere, like in our minds, outside, everywhere, we just have to be focused on, once again, our authentic self completely, where we stand in this, and then where we want to go. Like, what is the version of the world that you see? Does it include police? Does it include racism? Like, if it doesn't, then actually envision that, but don't get caught up about what job you're going to get and, how you're going to pay your bills, right? This came from me today, too. And we can't because it's so easy to get swayed that way in our emotional world.
And darling, I'm kind of feeling like, so Aries being the first sign, like in any coaching dynamic, like the first thing we do is like, what's the dream? And then we put to the side how we're going to get there. We're just not there right now, but we need to start with where we want to go. And like, it seems like Aries energy is like that kid who's like, I got this, let's go, you know? And they're not concerned with how, because they're not smart enough to get it. But like in some ways, like that good blindness of like, I believe this is possible and this is what I really want.
Exactly. Just believing that, you know, you have an imaginary friend and that imaginary friend makes you happy and that's it. And
Yes.
like being like, this is my friend, can you not see them?
Mm-hmm.
And not giving a fuck about what else somebody has to say and whether or not they're trying to prove you wrong. Because as long as you know that following yourself is following your ultimate truth and helping you jump worlds to the world that you really want to be in.
Darling, let's talk about this. So it seems on a scale of one being things are really crazy and they're going to start getting less crazy, to 10, oh shit, you don't even know what crazy looks like. Crazy being like change and like we're living in Alice in Wonderland and we don't understand what's up from down. Where are we on that process? Are we at the 1, things are going to start slowing down? Are we at the 5, they're about to ramp up? Or are we at like a 10 and like she's about to go bonkers, we don't even understand?
Yeah, we've been vacillating. I think like currently we're at the 6, the 5, the 6, but like give it the end of the summer, we're going to be back at 10. There's going to be more crazy change, and then the great conjunction happening at the end of the year. That's even bigger change. So if on that scale, everything that we saw this year is still from the 1 to the 5 range.
Yeah.
And it's been so life-changing. So to think that we can't even conceptualize how crazy and how much is really going to fall. How much matter isn't going to matter anymore. Like, it really isn't going to matter.
I can't wait. I do feel like I kind of want to get my boobs done, you know, just before the fall of matters. But like, just have like that one last shot where it's like, wow, she looked really good before we just all just fight.
Yeah, well, that's always been the lifelong thing, right? Well, should we get our boobs up, or should we wait and then maybe we can do it with our minds?
I know. Our ethics are shaping our decisions. It's insane. I never thought this would happen to us. So, darling, looking at this future, when they talk about the ascension, they talk about like mass extinction possibility. What do you feel like the new human, like what do we need to arm ourselves with to like make it to the next round, like of Earth?
Emotional intelligence and our abilities, right? So everyone has different abilities, and a lot of people, I do honestly feel bad for anyone who believes that they have no abilities at this point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there are like muggles, if you want to call them that, or sheep, or whatever people want to call them, right? But that's really a state of mind. If we can actually, as a collective, go, no, we have power. I have personal power. You have power. We have power in general. And what that is, asking that question opens the door to finding out what that is. Because not everybody is as telepathic, or not everybody can timeline hop and stuff like that, right? But everyone has a certain power that they can work on. And pairing that with, like, so being accepting of these other superhuman abilities that is going to be the future and how we interact. But then also, like, coming from a place of our heart and learning emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence has been slept on for a long time. I think the biggest place that we could see that change is in the man collective, right? In all of the males who are going through a lot of stress and going through a lot of different things to get them in a place where they're all emotionally intelligent.
Oh,
they all
my darling, yeah. And I was saying, like, the last